Hello, it's Rhodesia. It's nice to see everybody. I created this Facebook Live as an event to give myself accountability to actually do it. For the past several weeks, I've been interested in saying that I'm going to do Facebook Lives, and I never actually did it. So I figured if I put it as a public event, guess what? I would have to prepare and get it done. Yes, that's what I would have to do. So the topic is that intelligence is not essential for success. What a title. I know, right? What is Rhodesia talking about today? This doesn't make any sense. I observe how people interact and I question things. I analyze things and I challenge things. And other things, I don't care to know anything about them. See, I'm not a jack of all trades, master of none. One thing that I have consistently seen over the years, though, is that you don't have to be intelligent to succeed. Now, that goes against popular belief. Rhodesia has a degree. She's an instructor. She just announced she's an authorized international instructor and proctor. What does she mean by this? Well, what I mean by this is I listen to people speak about how stupid or unqualified their boss is, how they have, so much more education and experience than someone else does, but for some reason, they're not high into that position. They're not experiencing that success that they desire. I know a guy that didn't make it past the fifth grade from a third world country, yet he owned 3 businesses and lived comfortably. He couldn't read, but he could count his money. I know of people who are so smart until they are dumb. I also know people without formal education that are living the lives that college graduates wish they could live, that they wish they could achieve by doing simple things well. Hi, Lydia. Hi, Alicia. So oftentimes what we do is we underestimate our ability to achieve whatever we define success to be because we don't believe that we have the intelligence to get it accomplished. We don't believe that we have the intelligence to do things. We oftentimes look at other people and overestimate their abilities in comparison to ours. Some people are simply book smart. Like they act according to the data or instructions that they receive, but once it goes outside of their realm of learning and memorizing, they have no idea what they should do. There are problems around them, things to be improved, but that's not on their radar. They must be told what to do. It's outside of their box, their intellectual prison. Some people are trapped in an intellectual prison because they think that they know it all and they never actually explore options, or they only go based upon what they were taught. Like a child being told that they can't color outside of the lines. Coloring inside the lines is important for motor activities and different things like that. But when it comes down to creativity, we have to get outside of the box. A creative thinker sees problems and tries to solve them. They don't need to know all of the facts, the data, the probabilities, etc. They, however, have the ability to produce amazing results. The level of your intelligence isn't as important as how you use what you have and what you know. There was a gentleman named Dr. David Schwartz from the book, The Magic of Thinking Big, and he stated that the thinking that guides your intelligence is much more important than how much intelligence you have. According to Dr. Edward Teller, a prominent physicist, he stated that a child does not need a lightning fast mind to be a scientist, nor does he need a miraculous memory, nor is it necessary that he neither is it necessary that he get very high grades in school. The only point that counts is that the child has a high degree of interest in science. Interest and enthusiasm are critical factors. Positive, optimistic, cooperative attitudes. Having just enough sense to stick things through, to stick with something, having stickability is so important. Many times we abandon projects before we ever gave it a chance to have life. Stickability is more important than really knowing everything what to do. Being able to see something through to its completion is more valuable than lazy and idle intelligence, even at a genius level. That's how I say, a book on a shelf has no value. Until you pick up that book and you read it and practically apply the knowledge that is sharing inside of there, it means nothing to us just as having all of that knowledge and all those data and all that data and facts. My phone is slipping. That's why I'm trying to fix it right now. One moment, please. Everything just fell. Everything is falling. See, I told you don't have to be intelligent to succeed. I mess up all the time. And look at that. Now my notes are out of order. But I got a trick from my own self. Let's see how this goes. Okay. So the last part of what I was stating. So in all honesty, I actually prefer to work with someone who has a good and positive attitude. They may not have a high school diploma or education. I prefer to deal with someone who has logic and common sense than intellect versus a person who has a high degree and they're difficult and uncooperative. I'll start off with me as an example. So I'm going to give myself as the first bad example, right? So I was in a particular networking marketing company for several years, and I loved it. I learned how to dream and create what I believe to be larger than life goals with them. I also, however, had the habit of having to learn everything about something before I would actually implement it. That proved to be a habit that stifled my success. So my customers didn't know how much I knew or did not know about anything, but I knew. I would not allow myself to succeed because I always had to do things the right way, and knowing too much was not healthy to my success. Because of my previous nature, if something wasn't perfect, I would not do it. On the other hand, there was a consultant who really didn't know anything much, but she did what she knew and she did it well. She had the confidence and achieved much success that I never achieved. I was the person that everyone would go to because why? I knew the answer to everything. But you know what? Having all of that knowledge, the intelligence, the facts, the figures, that did not translate to success for me because I wasn't practically applying it. Neither was there more money in my pockets. See, I remember the facts and figures again, but I never applied them. I've seen, I've met, and I know people that graduated with honors. They've been the top of or the best in their class, and they're working with people who have a high school diploma and are making the same amount of money or less. I worked for a food distribution company a while back as a marketing sales associate at the age of 24. Prior to that, I was teaching at a culinary college as a professor or instructor. You know, professor sounds more nice, sounds so prestigious. And I thought that I was earning good money. After the amount of hours that I worked, I realized that my pay wasn't so great, but the prestige that it came with that nice title. I encountered problems with two colleagues while working at this particular college. And the problems that I encountered with these colleagues, it stemmed from my performance. They earned higher educational degrees and had decades more experience than I did. But for some reason, I produced better results than they did, and it bothered them. And they told me this directly. So this isn't like this is something in my mind that I'm imagining. It was a reality. They could not understand how I was a new professor and that I was so young, but I would have the students more engaged in class and actively participating. But when they would teach, they did not experience the same results. I had to work with these people before I was given a class. What they lacked was the ability to communicate and produce enthusiasm and interest in the respective subjects that they taught. One of the instructors actually would hold the textbook and read it like it was story time to these college students. She literally read word for word out of the textbook. That's not teaching. And I have realized that many instructors and teachers, if you take their textbooks and answer guides away from them, they're not in a better position than the people that they're teaching. So intelligence was not essential to success. It was how to practically apply the information that I knew in a fun and engaging way. Remember that those instructors, they were more intelligent than I was. They were more experienced than I was. Intelligence was not essential to my success. I simply presented the subject matter well, but they had a deeper knowledge than I did. However, I taught the students and they earned higher grades. So even now, I enjoy each opportunity that I have to teach and train industry professionals because so many people are told that they cannot do something, but they do not understand why, and neither do the people that they're telling them not to do it. So I received a referral from a national association, and I was referred to a major franchise to train their management and executives. Before they would agree to let me conduct the training, they came to one of my personal classes and sat in to watch my presentation style. The person that they sent from the corporate office actually came in my class after it started and left before it was over. I was told that they were impressed, and we started the negotiations for that particular contract. Before I had the opportunity to teach, I heard that there was some concern from other people that never met me. They probably saw like one of my pictures and saw how young I was and had a concern about my age and experience. I prayed about the opportunity. I didn't want to lose it before I was able to start. So everything did work out. The day of the class, I taught at least 30 people, all of whom were my seniors. I'm the youngest one in the class, and I'm the one actually in front of the class teaching. So they had 20 to 30 years over me on average. During and after the class concluded, people came up to me to express how impressed they were with my thoroughness. They expressed that they finally knew why they couldn't do certain things because they had no idea why. So they were training and telling their employees that they couldn't do things and had no idea why they couldn't do it. It's the thoroughness that I do with the information that I have. I don't try to learn everything. I try to master what's important. So I tend to have a very high success rate with my students that take my class and then they successfully pass certification exams. Am I of a genius level? Not at all. Heck no. Like, am I book smart? Only in things that I'm interested in. Once I have an interest in something, I do it well. Can I sit and have an intellectual conversation with someone about politics? No. Government? No. Global warming? No. The stock market and all other kind of facts about history? I can't have that conversation with you. I know what I need to know that's essential for me to be successful in life. I don't invest my time or mental space in filling my mind with things that are of no value in my life. I don't need to be on a game show to prove myself. Holding on to these facts aren't going to increase my income potential. I even pray for God to help me to forget anything that's not important. Like, I seriously do. So am I the student that a teacher would love? If it's in a subject I don't like, probably not. But if it's something I'm interested in, they would love me. I like to create things. I look to create things, to solve problems, and to find innovative solutions. I like doing things unlike anyone else has done before. Will you ever find me enrolling and being a part of a lot of different coaching programs? Not at all. I will, however, invest in what I see as valuable. Like, I don't see the value in buying a lot of clothes. That's just going to sit in the closet that I'm not going to wear consistently. I will wear what I have until I get holes in them or they wear out. I don't have that need to impress others either. I don't find value in doing these things. They don't help me to create the lifestyle that I desire, and neither do they lead to more peace and wealth, but people do it every day. So some people know every reason why something will fail versus knowing the one or two reasons why it will succeed. When I started off in business, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea when I started off. I would pray over my ideas and ask God to show me how to get things done. Sometimes I would work for days, weeks, months, and even years on something to achieve my desired results or results. There are other things that I'm still working on from years ago, so I had that stickability. Once I have a vision in my mind, it's going to come to pass. It may take time. I may even have to grow as a person, but it's something that I'm going to do because there's still things that I'm working on now. But one thing about me is that I am diligent in my efforts. I just keep thinking and believing that the next time I would be successful. I'm willing to try one more time. No does not actually mean rejection to me. It could simply be that what I'm offering is not right for that particular person or business that I'm offering it to, or my timing could be off. I've been called irresponsible by people who have earned higher degrees than I have and who are more intellectual than I am. I've been told that my ideas or approach might be childlike in nature, but God confirmed that what I was doing and have been doing is right. See, intelligence keeps many people imprisoned inside of an elite prison. I might be too dumb to know everything that could go wrong in a situation, and I'm okay with that. I prefer to focus on what could go right and allow that to be my fuel versus being plagued by the what ifs. I remember when my cousin was in college, she was in university, and her professor told her if never happened. If is an illusion. So I'm not going to focus on if. I will, however, focus on opportunities. I will try to succeed. I won't try to fail. I keep my mind fertile, peaceful, and continue to enrich it. I meet weekly with a couple of business owners, and we refine each and sharpen each other. So we are in totally different businesses, but the solutions that we see for each other, we might not see on our own. I understand the importance of seeking out other people's wisdom, knowledge, understanding as well. I don't have to know everything. And we consistently do this. I don't focus on probability and statistics because after listening to many reports, I realize that the analysis tends to be biased based upon who's conducting the research and the study to prove what it is that they want their data to prove. 1 minute science says to do something. Another minute they come back and say, no, don't do that. And then they come back again and say, oh, go with the first thing we said. Do this. No, I'm fine. I'll do what I perceive as best for me. Later on, I learned that the instinct that I had was all that I needed. Instincts are more important than intelligence. Instincts are more important than intelligence. Instincts are more important than intelligence. I have made this mistake before by avoiding what I felt was right, and I listened to someone who was more intelligent than me, and it cost me greatly. And I was the only person that had to suffer the consequence and pay the price for my decision. I was hired by an already existing company last year to work with them as a consultant. Our contract was for me to work on specific projects and specific things to do for them that I'm good at. After signing the contract and being paid, they wanted me to work on a project that I had zero experience with. I would have to go back to school, earn a degree, work as an apprentice, and become certified and licensed, and all of which I had no interest or desire in doing. I didn't have to take it on if I didn't want to, because no one could actually force me to do something unless you physically take me and do it. They'd been stuck on this particular project with no progress for more than 3 years, and they were losing money every single month. I took on the childlike approach and asked simple questions. I investigated why there was no progress. See, we should never really ever stop our kids from asking questions and desiring to know why things are the way they are. We actually might learn something from them by finding out those answers to those questions. I learn a lot from my son. So God says to come with him with childlike faith. So again, I investigated why there was no progress. I analyzed their paperwork and looked at the rejections, the details, why they weren't approved for their project. Was there something that was required to be done? And if so, why wasn't it done? Or what was needed to make it successful? I would typically have conversations with the officials, and I wouldn't be offended. I would actually ask them to speak to me like a child so that I can understand the details. None of the hired, trained, and certified professionals that they had on the project could solve the problem. My degree is in culinary management, not building and construction management. In less than 3 months, with something that I had zero experience or knowledge about, I had no idea what I was doing. I learned and figured out how to get it done. In less than 3 months, I sought out the help necessary, and the project was successfully completed. So they had over 3 years of qualified professionals who were licensed, trained, experienced, certified in this particular industry. I had no knowledge. I didn't act like I knew it, but I knew how to seek out others that were more qualified than I am to receive their assistance and insight. So intelligence was not essential for the success either. It was actually being a problem solver and asking the right questions and actually being in a humble position. I've studied real life businesses that I work with and made notes on why they failed. So I see that many people fail because they're not willing to listen to someone that they believe has less knowledge than they do. So back at the age of 24, I became an instructor at the culinary college. But then after that, I transitioned into a different career, into a food distribution company, and they only required a high school diploma. Like that was all you needed to go and work there. But the pay was better than my pay as a college instructor. Like how ironic is that? A college instructor makes less than somebody who has a high school diploma. But yes, so they provided comprehensive training, and I was amazed at how a job basically just selling groceries started me off with a salary of about $45,000, and that was over a decade ago. My colleagues actually felt bad for me because they felt like I wasn't making money. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm good with this. It was better than what I had before. But the reason why was that some of them made six figures. They made a couple $100,000, a few $100,000, in a position that only required a high school education. But we're always trained to get more degrees and get more degrees and get more degrees. And having all those degrees actually doesn't mean that you're going to be successful unless you know how to use that information. So that was another major life lesson for me. I don't need glitz and glam. I like what's deposited into my bank account, which is more important. So the company taught us to approach our assigned territory as though it were our own business and developed it. See, they gave us the freedom to be creative with what they gave us versus just putting a bunch of rules and stipulations on us. They understood the value of properly training someone rather than bringing in someone with their preset way of thinking, which would be more difficult to work with. I remember my first time earning, it was over $3,000 in 1 week at 24 years old. Excuse me. I like seeing money in my bank account. I don't need prestigious titles with little pay. I don't need to feel important. I know my value. So I'm a mother and I learn a lot from my son. And I apologize when I'm wrong. I try my best to do better, to be better and do better. And by making observations, I have a better understanding. Excuse me. Sorry. I just had this little cold on my chest. I'm sorry. By making observations, I have a better understanding and can avoid some of the pitfalls. So I know and understand that what works for one person may not work for another, even if they follow the exact same steps as the other person did. Blueprints are essential for construction and architecture, but it's not for everyone's life. There are so many factors to consider when deciding to apply what you have been taught or not. I learned a lot about parenting by trying not to do what I didn't like experiencing as a child, and then doing more of what it was that I liked and could appreciate. I know people that barely made it out of high school and didn't earn a college degree that experienced wealth and success surpassing those with graduate degrees. I know of intelligent people that are failures in several areas of their lives. I watch people that continue to go back to school and to earn another degree in another field to earn more money. They want to earn more money, but they're still in the same job. Now they have to pay off that additional degree that they earned with the same salary. That doesn't make any sense. So some of them can see the reasons why something wouldn't work before actually trying it out for themselves. I prefer to have a low functioning brain with a huge positive thought power than being brilliant and low functioning. We have a lot of low functioning, brilliant people, and they are of no use if they don't apply what they know. I like collaborating and socializing with people while I'm out of my home, or when I'm home. I don't want nobody bothering me. I like peace and quiet. Excuse me. Having the belief that you're superior to others and having a negative attitude is like a disaster is a recipe for success. A disaster is a recipe for disaster. I prefer to be respected than to be liked, and I prefer good quality relationships than a ton of acquaintances. I don't look at people as disposable or that they are there to serve me a purpose. I look at how I can serve people. Not everyone will be able to support your vision, buy into what it is that you're offering, or even add to your life. But you might be able to inspire them, show them a different way, or provide positive contributions to their life and not receive anything in return from them. It's selfish to believe that you always have to receive a direct return for a good deed that you did for someone. So intelligence hasn't gotten me this far in life. Faith has. The strong belief that what I saw in my mind, what I see is going to happen. Knowing that as I work towards it, the next step will unfold as long as I keep moving forward. In other words, some people call it the law of attraction. None of these things state that you need intelligence at all. You need to have a strong belief that things will work out as you imagine them working out, or working out better than you imagined them. I've experienced success with great companies, and it was not through who I knew. I remember that I imagined working with this 5-star hotel on a contractual basis. I did have the guts to call them. However, that phone call did not produce any good fruit. It wasn't a fruitful conversation. It didn't help me in any way. That conversation proved fruitless, but it was still an action and the right direction that I desired to go in. One glorious day, the Lord smiled and shined his light on me, and they called me. Like, what? How y'all got my number? Who y'all know that I know? How y'all got my number? Is what I want to know. And they booked a training class with me because they said that I was one of their approved vendors. How could I be one of your approved vendors? We never set up a contract or anything. But see, I didn't know how to get in there, but I got in there because I had the strong faith and belief. I prayed about it. I released my desire to let it be known that this is what I wanted. I kept working, and one day at a time, I worked and it came to me. See, I was smart enough to believe that it was possible and not even know how to go about making this happen or even who to speak to. See, intelligence was not essential for this success. I realized that if I truly wanted to earn a decent income, that it would not come from me sitting behind a desk earning an hourly wage or salary, because they're already giving you a cap on the max that you can get. So all you can really do is work with what you have and hope that you can find another way to produce a return on it. I love network marketing, but that's for another day. I, however, am implementing strategies that I learned and am applying them to my present business. College does not dictate success. There's a large number of people who drop out of college and never actually complete their course of study, while others go on to live unfulfilling, mediocre lives. My son does not have to go to college. He simply has to have a plan. His father didn't graduate from college, and I learned a lot about business from him. He is much more successful than I am, too. I am not a jack of all trades. I master what I am interested in. We need more people that are passionate about something and become excellent at it versus people dabbling in so many things and becoming mediocre at best. I remember the first time that I spoke at a career day. The focus was not on me. The focus was on the possibilities of what the students could achieve. They were in a low-income area where they didn't see much success except probably on television, and things that you see on television aren't always success either. That's just an illusion of what success is. So I explained to them some of the ways that I earn money, and they were in amazement. I asked them what they liked to do and what they thought that someone would never be paid for. So this is what they would never be paid for. This is getting them to think a different way. The expressions on their face when I shared with them the salaries of people doing things that they thought weren't unimportant, but they also made six figures. I explained to them that I did not grow up wealthy most of my life, and that I wasn't the best in my class or my school, especially in the last half of my career in school. But I did excellent in college. I was an honors in college, but barely made it out of high school. I gave them hope, and that is the purpose of me sharing this topic with you, that intelligence is not essential for success. There's a comment that stayed with me that was spoken from a little boy. He shared with me that he didn't see the value in career day until he heard me speak. His comment still fills me with joy to know that something I said had a positive impact on someone when they originally had negative views towards something. He now sees value where he thought there was no value. Your views, your attitudes, and your beliefs have more to do about your success than your intelligence. You might be ridiculed by people who are more intelligent than you are. They might try to embarrass you because you don't speak as well as they do. You don't need to know as much as they do. But all you need to do is know that whatever it is that you desire to do, what it is that you're supposed to do it with excellence and a great attitude. Everyone has a place in life. It might be your gift to remember facts and figures. Who can imagine? I like imagining possibilities. Who can imagine the possibilities? Who can find solutions when there aren't any present? People who do things differently in tasteful ways than others do. I like working with those kind of people that can practically apply what they've learned and produce good results. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. Hopefully at least one thing that I said made a positive impact on the way that you think. I am Rhodesia. Enjoy the remainder of your day and whichever way brings you joy the most. And thank you for sharing this time with me. I hope that it proves to have been a good investment for you. So let's see some of the comments that were here. So Lydia said, hey, girl, now you're officially a video blogger. Alicia says, following their natural instincts. Steady gets you there. Consistency. And then Alicia said, not a habit. Sometimes it's your nature. Just need to know how and when to stop and move forward, which is what you finally do. Kenny said, sounds like common sense to me. You know, common sense ain't common. Because some people, the things they think, say, and do, you have to look at them out the side of your eye like, you really said that just now? Then you go on to say that common sense isn't common. So I thank you guys for sharing this time with me. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Good night.